Welcome back to the Preconstruction Podcast. It's Gareth McGlynn here, your host with all your pre-construction crack. We are live at Precon World 2025 and we have got Ali Macias with us now from the Ryan's Company. Ali, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. You enjoying the conference?
Very much so, yes.
Yeah,
it's my fourth time actually, so we've been here every year.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and better.
And better, yeah.
We were just talking about we loved the blues and the venue.
The House of Blues,
oh, my
yes,
God.
That was so much fun.
No,
but it was too small.
It was too small. It was bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
And as much as intimate as it was, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Really nice. So delighted to get you on. Really looking forward to getting an insight into what you're doing right now, how your career's gone with Vaughan and Ryan Companies. Take us back to where it all started. How did you get into this weird and wonderful world?
So I started as a project coordinator with Vaughan. It was a job where I was 19 years old. I started working for them, just did project coordination for a few of their, they do a lot of work with the university. So I was at the job site and started learning a lot about just like being in the field, looking at everything that would happen around RFIs and meetings with subcontractors. So I was very immersed in construction. And then a few years in, I started working more with the Precon department, just doing invitations to bid, procuring subcontractors, all that. And then eventually started doing Precon. It interests me. They gave me the opportunity and it was just something that I really got excited about and started doing.
Brilliant. And that project coordinator, it was almost like a rotation, but you were just doing everything. Was there a particular thing within Precon and Estimate at that time that said, you know what, with my skill set, my personality, I think I'd be better there? Or was it a case of them selecting you?
So they suggested, and my boss at the time suggested it to me. He said, I feel like you're very, you're very organized, you like numbers, you like just facts, you have a good memory, so you might want to try this out. It was an opportunity for me, so I said, yeah, let me try it. And I just loved it. And that's how I got started. It is a lot of work to learn it as you go, but it's totally worth it. And I think it was a great shift in my career, 100%.
And you haven't looked back. I mean, senior pre-construction specialist now at Ryan Companies doing some cutting edge, exciting stuff. So it was obviously a good move. It's funny, out of all the people, 160 people that I've interviewed in the podcast, one of the commonalities is they've always had an opportunity within their career that they put their hand up and go, yeah, I'll give that a call.
Right.
Give that a shot.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Ryan Companies because I was deep in the Precon, just bidding jobs day in, day out with Vaughan. And when I came over to Ryan, it is a different role because it's more of, first it was implementation of software, training, supporting the team. And as that was completed, I have been working a lot on standardizing processes for Precon. So how can we be more efficient? How can we be more cohesive? Because we have repeat clients all over the country. And sometimes with different offices, they do things differently and clients don't like that. They like to see the same product every time. So it's just been evolving, even within Ryan Companies, what we're doing, getting very involved with data. So it's a completely different job from what I used to do, but it's still Precon.
It's interesting you say about that particular job that you're trying to do because everybody is trying to do that. How difficult was it at the beginning and what were the challenges?
I think there's always resistance to the new thing. I think, and especially in Precon, we like things the way we like them. We're used to doing it a certain way. With Destiny, it was rough because they had never used an estimating software. So they felt like they were losing capabilities until they actually understood that they were winning more, right? Getting more out of it. And it took a lot of just patience, a lot of one-on-one, people feeling like we had their back and really like at any time if they run into an issue, they could call me or my boss and we would jump on their estimate and figure out what was wrong with it. And it developed trust not in the software, but in the support they were getting from us. So I think that was huge because once that happened, they started learning how to solve their own issues eventually, and they started getting comfortable with it. So that was a big deal. And it's the same thing with data. They're like, it's all this work to put all this together, metrics and numbers, and then until they start using that data to predict their future budgets, now they don't feel like it's a task. Then now they want to collaborate and add to it because they're going to use it in the future. So
now they're looking at you going, I need AI now to help me do even more.
Right,
yeah.
right.
But it's funny that the aha moment of them when they, as you say, the resistance, then one project comes out and they're able to do it and they're going, wow, how did I ever do it the other way?
Yeah. Exactly. And I think there's always, you can tell, and I would always mention this on when we started training. I would tell them the people that will struggle the most is the people that have been doing it for the longest in other softwares or in other programs. So just need to get out of that mindset because it's not that difficult. It's only difficult if you resist it and you're trying to think about it as if it was a different software, right?
Give us an idea, because there's loads of companies here either thinking about changing software to Destiny or one of the other ones. How long, once you decided on Destiny, you started playing around with it before everyone got comfortable?
So it depended on the individual, right? There were people that trained and the next week they were doing estimates. For me, it was the same. I was hired to train for Destiny, but I had never used Destiny. I had just used a couple other softwares. It's very intuitive. And that's what I've seen more and more with these softwares. They're very intuitive. They mirror other products that we use constantly. So then it's not as hard to grasp. But it took us a year. We did a in-person roadshow throughout the whole company. So just a little bit of background. So our Precon team is about between 50 and 60 Precon people. However, our project managers in certain regions also do estimates, smaller scale, but they do. And so we trained about close to 300 people in a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it took us going there and actually doing a full day session all over the country and training them. After we did that,
Just you and your boss?
just me and my boss. And we had one more person that helped us. He was someone that grasped it right away.
And super user.
And super user. And we're like, okay, you're part of our team. And he was great because he was also our advocate that was actually in it every single day. Because we were training, but we weren't estimating every day. Yeah. And then after that, we developed, we have a great L&D team at Ryan. And so we developed little segments of how to do things in videos so that when people had questions, it wasn't as demanding on us anymore. And it was just like, here's a 2-minute video, how you do that. Here's a 2-minute. And so we created the whole training we did in person in tiny little pieces to be able to share this with people.
Brilliant. So you weren't repeating yourself. That sounds unbelievable. LMS system. Did you do that? What technology did you use? Can you do that in Destiny, or was that something a separate product?
Literally just a video recorder, and it was me talking and telling them what to do, like highlighting where my mouse was. Editing a little bit, but our L&D team is the one that kind of tells you, don't do a long video, do a short video. Maybe if you do a little quiz at the end, you get we can do the content, but they help us maximize the learning experience. Does that make sense?
Almost gamify it a little bit at the end. Yeah, very
exactly.
good. And then once they got up to speed, obviously Destiny now, you've been using it for how long?
4 years.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Going well, loving life.
Yes.
Looking forward to the cloud, looking forward to all the innovation that's happening as well.
Yes, 100%. We, especially a takeoff tool, because I think everybody's looking for a better way to take off without losing accuracy and without losing that sense of really knowing the job. So I think that will be a very big piece of it.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, all I get from clients is, listen, we're moving away from OST. Can you recommend anything? And there's just not enough out there. The competition's not there. Some things do it well, and
certain things and others. And that's what I think it's going to be huge for acquiring new talent, because Precon is a busy industry, it's busy work, right? And we have to move forward with better solutions and have our leadership be open to spending money on better solutions, because when you give them options, people straight out of college, do you want to be in the field or do you want to be in Precon? It sounds more exciting to be in the field, and you don't want to do the busy work of drawing all day long. And it's something that we can definitely, there's tools out there already, right? But I think that we do need to make something that's more cohesive, which is what they're trying to do with the cloud, have everything in there. And but I think we're getting close. And I think people that are new to the industry get excited about that. How can I do my job easier? All of our younger estimators are chasing things. Have you seen this product? Have you seen this other? They get excited about it.
Shiny new tools.
Yes, yeah. So I think that's a key thing that we need to do to start retaining and acquiring new talent, because they just want something exciting.
Yeah, and I think WorkPack's an interesting one. Obviously, we had Marty Cornish on the podcast before. It's now a great opportunity for him within the back tech to concentrate on the product again. Whereas beforehand he was running a business essentially. So I think there's exciting times with that once they plug it into Destiny.
Yes.
And then Stuart was talking about the analytics, the bid day. There seems to be a whole suite coming as well. What are you guys using outside of Destiny, outside of the takeoff for your tech stack? What else does it look like?
So we use Join
Nice.
for design build projects, not for every project. Obviously, bid solicitation is building connected at the moment. We are interested in bid day, but at the same point, they still don't have that solicitation part of it or pre-qualification part of it. So I don't know if you listened to the last talk we had, the morning session. They were talking about we have solutions for all these different things, but they're not in the same, they don't talk to each other, they're not cohesive. So I think that hopefully bid day can start doing that as well, because I love the fact that we can level in that tool and then just automatically feed all the numbers into the estimate, because I think that's the biggest time suck of Precon. We take off in one software, then we get our quantities, then we plug them in manually into our estimate, then we put them in our bid form again to get it to subs, and then we need to put them back in. So imagine 4 steps that if we do 3D model takeoff or AI, like automatic pricing, all those are like reducing steps, and that's what we're ultimately trying to do, not do so many double up work, because we're typing and typing and typing in different places. And then it also, it leaves room for error. If you're typing the same number 3 times,
you're going to get it wrong. Well,
yes.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I think I'm excited about that for bid day, and hopefully we can get to a point where we can actually invite the subs to bid a project within bid day. And I think that's what they're aiming for eventually, so that we're not having to solicit bids on one platform and then put them in another and then dump them in another. So,
and it comes back to the conversation you had as well, is the data journey, the data within one system, either flowing upstream, but also being able to come back stream and edit and historical data, and then reducing risk.
Right.
And if the person, whoever, whether it be Destiny or whatever platform, gets that right, that'll be a huge shift, because you kind of see it in the upside with Procore. Like the ability to do everything in the one platform, and
yes,
data being up and down. It looks as if BackTech are going to get there first. Am I?
I would think so, because Procore is working on their Precon portion, but I think they're a lot younger in that specific field. I think that Beck is closer at the moment. But yeah, there's just so many things. Like, it gets me thinking, like, not only bringing your winner, like whoever you're going to award to that sub, back into the estimate, but not waste the data of the other ones.
Yeah.
Because if we already have it in there, can we feed that? Like, Destiny already talks to Power BI. Can we just get all those metrics too, and then say, how far are these subs usually apart? And then when we don't get all 3 numbers, because we usually try to get like at least 3 numbers to vet the number, how would this one come in? And like, just start comparing between the subcontractors, how we think they perform against each other, depending on the product type, depending on the size of the job. Like, we have so much data, we just don't use it sometimes. It just dies. Like, you didn't use that sub, he was higher, and it's like, okay, in a file.
And there may be a reason from the client, they may just change the product, and that sub doesn't do the product, but it might be good for the next project that you do. And then you have to go through the same process.
Through the same process, and then we just throw away that information. So I have always thought, what can we do with all those numbers that we don't use for a contract? We didn't award to them, but they still mean something. We want to know who's our typical low, because sometimes there's subcontractors that will tell you, I just don't have time to give you the price now, but I can give it, like, maybe eventually when you bid the job, because we do several progressions, right? We get budgets from subcontractors over and over until we get to that guaranteed maximum price. So let's say on an initial budget, a sub doesn't have time to price it, but he's a trusted sub, he can do it. Someone else prices it, and you're like, okay, this is way out of budget. If we had those metrics, okay, sub A is always 10% higher than B, could we maybe get like halfway there? Because we have the history that for years they've been bidding kind of close to each other in that range. Like, I don't know, it's just an idea, but it's a good idea. If we already have the data, why not use it?
And the beauty of that, and you were in Nick is EOS group, that conversation.
Yes.
I mean, if you can get that data in a platform and use AI to be like a
To analyze it.
LLM to analyze it and ask it a question.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
It's
loads.
just so interesting. Yeah, so many things to do.
And this is why this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like the conference is incredible, and there's something that tells me that, don't get me wrong, this conference, Advancing Pre-Construction, especially when innovation's moving so quick, it'd be good to have a little bit more of face-to-face time with these companies, because you mentioned the Precon round table you guys had this morning. How beneficial is that?
Oh, it was on Tuesday, but it was so good because I think that's the other thing that I really enjoy about this one versus bigger conferences. It seems more collaborative than sales. Some conferences, of course, people want to sell their product, right? But we want to hear more about what other people are doing, and not just like on a stage, but actually collaborate together. And I think for the longest time, construction has been very jealous of like their own knowledge and very secretive. And we're starting to learn that we can be collaborative and learn from each other. There's no secret sauce really to what we're trying to do. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do with their data. Everybody's trying to make their process easier. And everybody is trying to use AI. They just don't know how yet, right? And we're all on the same page. And just getting ideas, their solution might not work for us, but maybe it turns a light bulb on of, oh, what if we would do it this other way? And I think that's what I enjoy about this conference. It gives us that chance to just have smaller groups, breakouts, the round table that Stuart set up for us. It was very beneficial. We all talked about what we're doing, and it's very similar. We're just, some of us are more advanced in some aspect and others in other, and it's just...
And then once you share that, you're saving your people time, or each company time. And once the community, and I think we're very close to that. And I think there's a lot of companies and a lot of tech companies that are promoting collaboration and sharing and transparency. Once we get to that stage, I think it'll go even faster for everyone. Because there's enough work out there for everyone.
Exactly. And we were even talking, like, we just joked a little bit about it, but we were like, well, what if we just try different softwares and then we talk about it, that way we're not paying for it? Because think about it, as a single company, you still have to pay for like trials. Yeah, I mean, a demo is free, but if you want your estimators to actually use these, you have to pay for at least a couple months or a month, and maybe a month isn't enough to try it out. And like, no leadership is going to approve to try 5 takeoff platforms. So if we could try and do that, like that's where we're like, okay, maybe we can learn from each other, and it's more of a collaboration. We're still, we might not even be competitors at some point,
Well, the majority of the time, a lot of companies aren't. They're at different stages, different sizes, different industries, different sectors.
Regions,
Yeah, and that's where somebody in the West Coast and the East Coast that are never competing can really sit down and help each other. They can talk about changing from OST to another platform and say, I've done this already. Took me 6 months. These are the best 2 for what we want to do. Very interesting. Yeah, collaboration. So tell me now, what excites you the most? I know a lot of the conference is about AI. What's your take personally, and Ryan Company's? I thought Nick's talk was brilliant. He talked about the pitfalls. Yes. He talked about the governance, the concerns, and the mistakes that the people are making. What's your thoughts on it?
So Ryan is definitely looking into AI. We have a specific group that is dedicated to finding options on how we can maximize AI in our different, like from accounting to scheduling to A&E, like proposal writing, everything. But we're still in the exploration phase. But while they're exploring, what they are doing a lot of is training, education. You can't just drop our information in a ChatGPT, because you actually don't know, and you're not doing the research of what they do with that information, and we don't want that information to be public. So understanding that we have an enterprise account for an AI agent, and that's what we stick with, because that means it's just private and it's shared amongst us, but it's not shared with the rest of the world. So a lot of education of that, kind of what Nick talked to us about. You'll get a different response for the same question if you ask for it different days. Why? Because it's going through different servers, right? So you're not sure which one you're accessing at any given point. And I don't think people understand this.
No, I did until I went down and heard that conversation.
We need to be educating a little bit more. And I think Ryan's doing a good job of that. Like, if you want to use an AI tool, you need to go through training. And I really think that's beneficial, because we are learning a lot more about how it works, how accurate it is, and what it could be good for. There's a lot of things that it's not good for. I do think that there's a little bit of a risk of just relying too much on it, especially for newer talent, because then they don't have the experience of figuring things out. But I also think it's very beneficial for repetitive tasks. An idea that comes to mind is if you have a steel takeoff, steel, you have to take it all off and then come up with calculations of how much each element weighs to come up with a tonnage. And you could drop the whole steel book in an AI tool, drop your takeoff, and it's going to tell you how much tonnage you have for each element or for however you sorted it out. And that's work that you already know it. You went through the plans. You know where everything is. You're not losing knowledge. You're just making that math easier.
Yeah, you're confirming almost. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
And you're giving it the tools, the context, everything that it needs to be accurate. You're not just asking, right? You want to say, you don't want it to go and search on random websites how much steel weighs. You want to give it the source of truth. You want to give it your source of truth by your takeoff that you already took time doing it. And then you save a bunch of time. Yeah. Or if you don't understand a mechanical or electrical system, when I started doing Precon, it was asking the people around me, going to my construction dictionary, figuring this out. Now I just ask ChatGPT, okay, so how does this work? Where do they use it? Why is this one better than that one? And like in that case, I think it saves you time. It's educational. It's not giving them work to do. It's more just helping you learn and being more efficient. So that's where I see it going as far as Precon goes. And obviously takeoff. I think takeoff with AI is going to be so much easier. It's still going to require for us to check what it's doing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of mistakes with people that trust it way too much, but it's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah, and I love the thing about Nick. It was all, the client's going to ask you eventually, saying,
right.
Where did you get that information? How much AI did you use to
Where
come
are
to
these
this?
doors? And they're going to be like, I don't know.
That was me. That was ChatGPT.
Let's ask him. Exactly.
The other thing about Ryan companies that I really like, and you told me about this pre-recording, is the way that your pre-construction company, as you said, 50, 60 people, is split into data, pre-con, and tech.
Yes.
Give us an idea how that works.
So basically we say it's the people, process, and data, right? The people is everybody. Like everybody is part of that group, but they do have, they made the decision to have selected individuals to just work on that process. How are we going to collect data? How are we going to make sure it's accurate? So there's 5 people in my group. We have a director of Precon advancement. She's always thinking 3-5 years ahead. She's amazing, Nicole Waits, and she is always in that, like, pushing the envelope. How is this going to connect to everything else? How are these applications going to speak to each other? Then we have a data analyst specifically for Precon. She is the one that helps us create all of our reports, all of our dashboards with our historical data. And then we have another 3, including myself, that we're in charge of support, training, creating processes that are more efficient, and we meet with all our different regions, figure out what works best for all of us. We have different sectors within the company too. So there's a multifamily, industrial, retail. So we try to cater to those groups and make sure we take care of their needs, but kind of stay within the standard of the whole company, right? And then there's one more person that does, she validates archives. So every time we finish a project and we have the total price and we buy it out, which means we awarded contracts, we have all those final numbers, that estimate gets archived and it becomes part of our cost database. But it doesn't just happen automatically, because we still need a human to say, hold on, you have a lump sum for all concrete. We want to know how much your foundations were versus your slab on grade versus your slab on deck, so that eventually we can predict a conceptual estimate a lot more accurately. Our company also has an in-house capital markets and development team, so they ask a lot from us to just have like, I just have an idea, basically. Like, this is a napkin sketch. The project is this size, it's gonna be here. How much would it cost? And you're like, we have no other information, not even like SD drawings. It's just an idea, literally, that they need the price or the range to be able to sell it to an investor. So because of that, Ryan Companies has always had very good historical data tracking. We just have gotten more modern with it.
Sorry to interrupt you,
No,
Ali.
you're good.
The historical data, how far back, when did they start this? You joined in 2021. Has it been going way before that?
Yes.
Wow.
I think we have been going as far. I mean, not that we use those prices anymore, but I know that on our dashboard we have Modelogics. We used to use Modelogics, and before Destiny would feed automatically into it. But we have estimates that start in 1999. We have more than those, but we're not pulling those in. But yeah, they've always captured that data. It used to be in Excel, and then you would look up, your spreadsheet in Excel. But now it's just feeds into Power BI dashboards. But yeah, it's very interesting because, like I said, first it's a task. Like, why do you want me to break up my estimate in all these little pieces? I don't have time. I'm chasing the new job. Like, don't bug me for it. But as they need it, and they're like, oh, hold on, I need to come up with this. Can you help me? Again, and it was a lot of support at the beginning. They didn't know how to, sort it and figure out a good project for them. But the more they ask for our support, the more they use it. And so we track metrics within our estimates. It's not just the cost, but within the estimate, we want to know where it's at, when the project starts, so that we're able to escalate it to actual time. We want to know what sector it is, the type of structure, the type of MEP system. So if you're ever in need for something, you can go to our dashboard and say, this is a project that's going to be here. It has this type of system. It has this and that. And it'll give you a result of what we've done in the past. And then if you don't find anything specific, you can start, looking for similar things.
Be creative, yeah.
Be creative. And we do a lot of repeat work. So it's very useful in that sense because we basically do the same building all over the country. So then the variable is only site. Yeah. So, but at least we have that. Okay, so this is what it's cost. The average is this much for 10 buildings. And then we escalate it to this point in time, this city location. And then from there, we can be a little more accurate with what we're estimating.
I love this. I mean, when you think about the common cry from pre-construction estimators is we need more help. But with data and with the historical data, those napkin sketches come in, you can bang it out, away you go, and then continue on with your... When did this team, Data, Precon and Tech, when was that put together?
When they hired me, like
Perfect.
a few months before, so 2021.
Wow, so we're 4 years into that. How beneficial, like how much more free time does the Precon team have because of this structure?
I don't think that it's necessarily how much more free time they have. It's more like, I don't know that this would have happened. I don't know that they would have had the bandwidth to do what we're doing.
Right, okay.
So, and I've known of other companies that try to implement a software and they're like, well, we tried it, didn't work for us. But then it's like, well, who was leading that? And it's just basically people that have an hour left of their week. And they're like, I tried to use it, but it didn't, like, I didn't do a whole job there because I didn't have time to learn it. And I think that definitely it probably saves them time when they're trying to do a conceptual estimate, not having to ask around, what job should I look up? I couldn't tell you like hours wise, but I do know that a lot of the things that we're doing wouldn't have even happened because there's no one to really tackle it unless someone really got off projects and did it. And that's what we did. So I mean, I was hired for that, but my boss used to be a Precon manager and, he stepped away from that world to lead this cause as well. So
yeah. And I'm just thinking now out loud about the AI part of it. Once you've got that structured data, that historical data, plugging AI into that it'll be like pouring petrol on fire.
Yes.
It'll be amazing.
Right. And even if because we have a lot of data, but again, we have a lot of users that are either new or not as tech savvy, and they don't really understand how to operate these dashboards, and even like an AI tool that could help them, for them to type, I want to find this, and because we have like hundreds of dashboards for all sorts of different things, right? And they can say, okay, this is the dashboard you need, go to this link, enter that, like help them use the tools. That's another thing that we've just thought about. I mean, it's just all ideas at this point, right? But I definitely think Ryan Company is doing a good job at exploring all the different possibilities.
And going full circle, it comes back to the support you mentioned before about you and your boss traveling around the country, having that support and getting that buy-in. Well, I mean, Ali, congratulations. I mean,
Thank
it sounds
you.
as if it's going incredibly well.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's exciting you, like that you've heard from the conference that's happening at Ryan companies, or even happening in the industry that you go, "Oof,
I'm definitely very excited about all the possibilities with AI, 100%, with a lot of caution. Like I don't think it's going to be the solution to everything, but I'm excited as to how it's going to change the way we work, and how we're going to do less busy work and more actual like analyzing. Sometimes I feel like in a pre-con role, you can get so wrapped up in the counting and the details that you don't take a step back to understand the project as a whole. And maybe there's a bigger risk than how many, door hardware
yeah,
accounts
getting
we
that
have.
wrong?"
And you're just so
Yeah.
busy counting them that you don't have the time to take a step back and really say, hold on, what is the important thing here? What doesn't jive? What questions do I need to ask? And so I'm very interested to just step more into that critical thinking and away from the busy, tedious, repetitive work, if that makes sense.
No, but we talked about it with Jared and Brent. We're almost going to become, and seeing the estimators, we went from estimators to pre-con managers. I think you're going to be just a value engineer. And that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be working with the client on various options, coming to the right conclusion, and AI, tech, it's all going to do the heavy lifting for you.
And tech is it keeps surprising us. Honestly, like every time I hear something new, I'm like, okay, they're coming up with all these new exciting things. Just want to see them all together. Like I want to see them all work together, because right now it's very like just splattered.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that'll come, I'm sure.
It will.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so.
Lovely, Ali. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
For inviting
And
me.
if there is anybody listening today and they're going, you know what, Ali's touched on one or two things that I would like to kind of go into a little bit more detail. Where's the best place to get in contact with you?
They can contact me on LinkedIn, I think.
Lovely, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There you are, folks. I will put Ali's LinkedIn URL down in the show notes. If you have any questions about anything discussed today, feel free to shoot her an email, and I'm sure she'll help you out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ali.